Okay. Hi. I wanted to talk about something today. Um, in my practice this morning, I just had a realization about spiritual awakenings. Or I guess like a new perspective, right? Um, so I had a spiritual awakening. Um, I think it was about 2017. So about 5 years ago, I had a spiritual awakening where one day everything just changed like that. It was literally the flick of a hat. Is that what you say? Flick of a hat? I don't know. And everything was different. I understood the world differently. And I completely changed. And then since then, this has been my life, right? My the most important thing in my life has been my spiritual practice and just continuing to like understand this beautiful new dimension that I I had no idea existed up until that point. It started with a trigger. So I was listening to a podcast, and um it was Yoga Girl's podcast, actually, like her first episode. Um and she was talking about her own spiritual journey, and something clicked in me, and I got really sad. I felt really sad, and I realized that there was something that was missing in my life in a very real way. And I was like, I'm the realization that came to me was, I'm not living the life that I want to live. um And looking back now, I can see that that wasn't me speaking. That was like literally something clicked in me. And that was my soul awakening and like speaking to me, right? Because it was so strong. It was stronger than anything I have ever experienced before. Um, and over a few hours, I was kind of just in this experience, and I sat down and did something I've never done before. I just asked the universe. I was like, universe, like, show me, like, please show me what to do, or like, what's happening here. Like, show me what to do, help me. uh and nothing happened. And I was going to meet my friends, so I was like, okay, I'll get up, go into the shower. And I stepped into the shower, and as I was standing in the shower, that immense, undescribable wave of bliss and bliss, right, came over me. And that's when it happened, right? Um, in literally one moment to the next, I was standing in that experience, and I still have it today, right? I felt like I understood the world. Like, it was as if I could see everything at once. And it's making me emotional to talk about it, because it was the most beautiful experience I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm incredibly grateful that it happened to me, right? Um, so that happened, and it was beautiful. Um, and I came out of the shower. I went to see my friends, and I was like, guys, like this happened to me. And they were kind of like, they couldn't, like, they didn't grasp it. They, they didn't get it, because of course they didn't. Um, and and that started a journey, right? um, because that was such a beautiful experience. But at the same time, what followed was really difficult, for me, because I wasn't in the environment of spiritual people. So um, I didn't know how to talk about what happened to me. I was sharing with people, I was talking about like things in life from this completely new perspective. And I am blessed with friends that were very patient, and um, they continue to accept me the way I am. So but there was still difficulty there. I felt really alienated from uh everyone almost in my life, because there was no one I could talk to. I didn't have anyone to talk to about this. um so for the first year or two uh of this experience, well, the first year at least, um for a long time I would listen to Ramdas, like, addiction level. Um, because I was like, here's someone that knows what I'm talking, like, he knows. And I listened to a lot of Trevor Hall music as well. Um, but what I wanted to say about this, so, you know, first of all, like, going through a spiritual awakening is really, it shakes your entire world. What a spiritual awakening is, and this is what I found today. So what happens when you have a spiritual awakening is that for a moment you're switching your perception from the automated, like, subconscious mind. You're switching from the mind patterns that you have been living with your entire life, and that makes up the person that you are, right? Like your story, like, here's Emma doing her thing, like, and for the first time since, probably, I'm very sure that infants are completely in pure consciousness and all of this, but for the first time that you can remember and be aware of, you are in the pure consciousness instead of in your own mind. And that is all there is. That's all it is. So what happens in that moment is that you, like I said, you switch from being in this, being in your mind, to suddenly coming into pure consciousness, pure awareness. And this is why it feels so incredibly big and expansive and, like, too much to take. Because you're literally tapping into everything that is. And it makes sense to me now that I understand this, and I understand it through my experience and my practice, why why I felt like I know everything, right? Like in one moment I just understand the world, right? And it made me laugh. And it's one of these things that people say about like plant medicine, for example, right? Like you just see it from a completely different perspective all of a sudden, and you just gotta laugh, because it's like, here I am thinking, that my futile experience in my tiny little world is so big and so important and so serious. And then like that, you're just like, whoa. You like it's ridiculous, right? Um and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Um but this is what happens when you have a spiritual awakening like this, when it um and you literally change your perspective. You just switch your perspective. That is the blessing. You know the secret now. Like, that's all it is. That's literally all it is. um and for a long time I was putting a lot of weight and importance and like reverence, right? And no wonder, but a lot of reverence to this thing, like, but as if it was, it was me, and then it was this thing, and I was in connection with the thing, and it was beautiful, and I was having, I was meditating, and I was going super deep and like floating into this expansiveness and going away, and you know um and all of that, given like these, like gifts, like psychic gifts, and all of that just started coming to me, right? But um but I was imagining it as being separate from myself, rather than understanding this very very important detail, which is that it's all like, I have control of it in here. you know and that's what non-duality is. um coming into um coming into consciousness and awareness with in our experience, and then merging with it, um in a mental, it's not really the right word, but the experience is mental. It feels, merging your the person that you are, or that you are in what your brain thinks that you are, with this with the life that is everything, right? Like, with the consciousness that is actually running the person that you think you are, and your body and the entire world, right? um and for so long I put the power outside of myself, even though I could feel it so deeply, and I could feel my soul, I could feel my heart. And, it was leading me, telling me what to do, each new step, you know, on this journey. But it isn't until now that I'm realizing that I'm it, you know, I'm it, you're it, we're all it. And we can just rest in that. We can just be in that consciousness. We can live in that consciousness at all times. And it takes practice, and it um, takes some courage and a lot of letting go, right? Because stepping into pure consciousness, the mind wants to grab at things, right? And but it's all right here, right in every moment. And stepping into the part of you that is behind, the part of you that sees. And I love this question, or this technique to bring you into it. Just ask yourself, am I aware? Are you aware? And what is it that activates in you when you ask yourself that? That is consciousness.